Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagat Guru Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. And I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome all of you here physically at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those that are watching this discourse and program on live feed locally, nationally, and internationally. And I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse subsequently when it is posted on YouTube and in the various groups from around the world. Due to the many requests of confusion in my expounding the Bhagavad Gita through the philosophy of Vishishtadvaita, I have opened a group called Vishishtadvaita is Absolute Vedanta. And I've decided to do this discourse in two parts. The first part, I will start from the beginning, the philosophy and the various philosophy and how the philosophies are formulated, why they are formulated, how they are rejected and why they are rejected, and which philosophy must be followed. And with these, I will bring in Vedic injunction to qualify all that I am stating. So this page, Vishishtadvaita is Absolute Vedanta, will assist you, and you can always go to this page. This discourse will be summarized verbatim on that page, and also a clip of the Vishishtadvaita discourse will also be found on this page. So there will be a written summary and you'll get this discourse. Then a combination of both the discourses, the expounding of the various verses in the Bhagavad Gita from where I last left off, together with the explanation on Vishishtadvaita and the various philosophies, will be collectively found on YouTube. So I'm going to start by reading a text from the Srimad Bhagavatam and then qualify as we go along in small parts the Vishishtadvaita philosophy. So I'm taking a reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam 11th Canto, Part 2. Text 42. Okay, so it's from the 11th Canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, text 43. Text 43, the translation and commentary by Swami Srila Prabhupada. And in text 43, it is Lord Sri Krishna speaking, and I quote, I am the ritualistic sacrifice enjoined by the Vedas, and I am the worshipable Deity, full stop. It is I who am presented as various philosophical hypotheses, and it is I alone who am then refuted by philosophical analysis, full stop. The transcendental sound vibration thus establishes me as the essential meaning of all Vedic knowledge, full stop. The Vedas, elaborately analyzing all material duality as nothing but my illusory potency, ultimately completely negate this duality and achieve their own satisfaction. So Lord Narayan, in his form as Lord Sri Krishna, is explaining why there are so many philosophies. And because we have stated throughout that Lord Sriman Narayan is in everything, and everything is in Lord Sriman Narayan, then all the philosophies, either to, for, or against, is ultimately Lord Sriman Narayan. Because we said even prior to that the Vedas have not been authored by anyone including Lord Narayan. The Vedas have not been authored by any entity including Lord Sriman Narayan. The Vedas is the essence of Lord Narayan, because knowledge is the essence of God. Knowledge is the essence of God, and Vedic knowledge is called Vedas. So Vedas is not authored by any living entity. It is the essence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sriman Narayan. And when a philosophy is analyzed, when it is expounded, and when it opposes another philosophy, and when eventually these philosophies are refuted, if Lord Narayan is the substance of everything that exists, then it is obvious that this refutation and these opposing philosophies are in here in Lord Sriman Narayan himself. And it is for that reason it is stated in the verse that Lord Sri Krishna is the basis of all accepted, analyzed and rejected philosophies. You understand? Are there any questions up until this point? Rishi, you understand? So, as we move along, all the philosophies that exist, or coexist, or exist relatively, will be ultimately refuted by myself through the grace of Lord Sri Ramanuj and his teachings and his founding teachings in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. And when this knowledge and these philosophies that are not absolute will be refuted, then it is through the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. And it is for this reason, I have stated previously, we must not hate saints that have expounded knowledge that is contrary to the Vedas, or slightly contrary to the Vedas, or totally contrary to the Vedas, because I'm not teaching you to hate these saints, and this verse will qualify that it is the Supreme Personality's will through these saints that alternative philosophies were expounded. And by expounding alternative philosophies, Sanatana Dharma is kept alive. So I can sit here today, refute and reject alternative philosophies, and in its place give you the absolute philosophy. And in doing that, Sanatana Dharma is not just a religion of do's and don'ts. Sanatana Dharma is alive and kicking. It was alive and kicking in this cycle of creation for the past 155 trillion years. In just this cycle of creation in the last 155 trillion years. Okay? And this is what keeps Sanatana Dharma a living system. Sanatana Dharma is not a religion. It is a living system which can be embraced by all of humanity. All of humanity. And this that I will be teaching throughout my living years will be non-sectarian. Will be non-sectarian. So it would not belong to a particular sect, a particular creed, or a particular religion. This teaching that we're going to expound will be for any human that embraces it. Any human that embraces it. So the next verse, Canto 11, chapter 22, text 6. And Lord Sri Krishna continues, by interaction of my energies, different opinions arise. But for those who have fixed their intelligence on me and controlled their senses, differences of perception disappear, and consequently the very cause for argument is removed. Okay? So Lord Sri Krishna is saying that if you surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sriman Narayan, then that essence of the Absolute Truth will emanate from the teachings of Lord Sriman Narayan, and there will be no need to assimilate any other knowledge, because Lord Sriman Narayan is the fountainhead of the Absolute Truth. And if you surrender to Lord Sriman Narayan, then there's no need to get involved in different philosophies. There's no need to get involved in debates and arguments, for you receiving the absolute truth from the source itself. So in lieu of all what I have stated up until this point, Lord Sriman Narayan has created for this very purpose Sampradayas. Sampradayas in English will translate to spiritual universities. To spiritual universities. And he has authorized 4 spiritual universities, 4 systems where you can attain the absolute truth. The very first system is the system that we belong to. It's called the Sri Sampradaya, or the Sri University. The university where Mother Lakshmi is the dean or head of university, is Mother Lakshmi. Then subordinate to this Sri Sampradaya is the Brahma Sampradaya, because Brahma is the first living entity to which God speaks the entire Vedas through his heart. And Lord Narayan has given Lord Brahma, his own university called the Brahma Sampradaya. And similarly, Brahma's first 4 sons, the Sanat Kumaras, who visited Lord Narayan and verified that Lord Narayan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan also awarded them their own university. And Lord Shiva, who also visited and met Lord Sriman Narayan, has his own university as awarded by Lord Sriman Narayan, called the Rudra Sampradaya. So we have 4 spiritual universities originally created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sriman Narayan, and these injunctions of these universities can be found in the Padma Purana. So you can go and Google Padma Puran, and in there type in the 4 sampradayas that I stated, and you'll find that these sampradayas are authorized in the Padma Purana, and the Padma Purana is one of the Puranas that is in Satagun, and we only accept the Puranas that are in Satagun. Okay? So to cover all the bases, of the Vedas, it is necessary to find a guru together with his institution that belongs to one of these 4 systems of dissemination of spiritual knowledge. Alright? So it's the Sri Sampradaya, the Brahma Sampradaya, the Kumara Sampradaya, and the Rudra Sampradaya. So since time immemorial, the Sri Sampradaya continued to exist unbroken. The disciplic succession and the transfer of knowledge from guru to disciple continue to exist unbroken because this sampradaya is eternal. It is eternal means it exists all the time because the head of this sampradaya is Mother Lakshmi. Lord Brahma only takes up his university during creation. The Kumaras only take up their universities during creation, and Lord Shiva only take up their university during creation. And I've stated on numerous occasions that one cycle of creation is 311 trillion, 40 billion years. However, the Sri Sampradaya, of which Mother Lakshmi is the head, continues to exist eternally because Mother Lakshmi is eternal. She does not appear in creation. She appears eternally with Lord Sriman Narayan in Vaikuntha. You think that's enough for part 1? All of you think that's enough for part 1 to go on our page? Vishishtadvaita is absolute Vedanta. Alright? Are there any questions up to this point? I was inspired to open this page because of international questions where people are confused to the many sub-universities that opened out of these 4 main universities. So when a university opens, then if it's a university of law, then the protocol of law must be the substance of learning in the university. So what has happened over time, the original constitution of the universities that Lord Sriman Narayan had authorized to be opened are now teaching something different. And whenever this happens, then it is the Sri Sampradaya that have to come into action and start fixing the philosophies that have drifted from the mainstream philosophy. So all these universities would have had Lord Sriman Narayan as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his consort Mother Lakshmi. And Vishishtadvaita would have been the qualifying subject matter through Vedanta. You can study the same law in various universities. Law, you can study the same law in various universities from around the country. Somebody can study law in Wits, somebody can study law in Natal, somebody can study law in Cape Town. Is it not? Yes, so similarly, would the Sri Sampradaya, the Brahma Sampradaya, the Rudra Sampradaya and the Kumara Sampradaya, the subject matter was supposed to be the same, but through different heads of universities. However, through time, it can't be Lord Sri Krishna phoning because Krishna Janmashtami is finished. Through time, the original instruction to the universities have now been, the philosophies have changed to accommodate a certain time and a certain mindset of people, and these saints accommodated certain countries, certain times, certain tribes, and formulated certain philosophies to suit those needs, and drifted away from the original philosophy of the Vedas. Okay? So, in the coming years, because this is a very, very deep subject matter, we hope to realign through discourses at the Sri Narayan Dham in South Africa, and we have many, many, many ashrams of the Sri Sampradaya in India, and I'm sure in the Indian language, in Sanskrit, in Telugu and in Tamil, other gurus are and have been and will also try to realign the original Vedic injunction by Lord Sriman Narayan. So put together, we all going to change the face of philosophies that exist currently both in our Western world and in India itself. I want to state, and I hope to state this at every discourse, that in my personal capacity, I am an insignificant dust particle that lies at the feet of the Sri Sampradaya. And whatever information that I expound, it belongs to Lord Sriman Narayan, clarified, collated and explained by Lord Sri Ramanuj 1,000 years ago, and graced through to me by my Guru, Swami Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. So I, in my personal capacity, take no credit for whatever information that I am expounding. It comes through the system, and I am a mere conduit that is now passing on this information to you. All of you understand?